Jerseys of Hope is a nonprofit committed to inspiring a sense of community and well-being in hospitals through the donation of athletic jerseys to be worn by patients rooting for their favorite team. In the past 7 years, Jerseys of Hope has given out over 2,000 jerseys to lift the spirits of hospital patients. They have impacted the needy in 4 countries and 11 states. Please visit jerseysofhope.org to learn more. We're so honored to partner with Jerseys of Hope and be a small part of the large impact they make.
Hey everyone, this is Aaron. Thanks for listening to this very special episode with our partners at Jerseys of Hope. My wife and I got to go on a very special road trip this weekend and actually record this episode in person at one of their events. I hope you listen today and just to hear all the ways that you can help our incredible partners at Jerseys of Hope. It doesn't involve cash. There are so many ways that you can help Jerseys of Hope and their mission. And trust me, I spent a weekend with them. They are amazing people doing amazing things, and I'm so honored to partner with them. Listen throughout the episode, but know this up front. You can go to jerseysofhope.org and find out more about them. And trust me, that website is changing soon. You'll hear about that in this episode. But jerseysofhope.org, give this episode a listen and figure out ways that you can help them as well, because we can always lift someone else up with something as simple as a jersey. So thanks for listening today.
Welcome to the Unscripted Podcast. This is Caitlin. Each episode, my Uncle Aaron interviews guests that are living their lives unscripted. The song you are hearing is the music from our dear friends Tori and Shauna. You can find their music wherever you stream your favorite songs. For now, from his studio, here's my Uncle Aaron.
All right, welcome to the very first Jerseys of Hope in person in a garage near Put-in-Bay podcast. This is going to be a lot of fun.
Exactly.
Leslie, you are our first guest. Do you want to introduce yourself?
I'm so impressed by myself. So my name is Leslie Burke, and I am affiliated with John through a number of friends, and I'm a very proud supporter of Jerseys of Hope.
How did you all meet?
So friend of a friend. I have a friend of John's who was my boss early in my retail career. Dillard Department Stores, Beechwood Place. His name was John Zerbola, very good friend of mine. And he basically gave me my job in college, and we've been friends ever since. And I believe that was about 91, 92.
91,
so
92.
Many, many years. And John, when he got married, he had a very large wedding party, and John and Monica were in the wedding party, and we connected immediately and have been friends ever since.
How about that? Do you live here?
No, we live in Hudson, Ohio,
Okay.
which is kind of east side in between Akron and Cleveland.
So you've come all the way out here just to support John.
We
How
have.
about that?
And the fact that we don't have to go all the way to Put-in-Bay, just
Yeah.
to have a good time here by the water.
That's
So
right.
Hudson's a little landlocked. There's not much going on
There's
there.
no ferries to take or
Exactly.
jet streams
We
or
just
anything?
walk across the street to Catawba Inn and walk back and have a great time. So
Oh, that's awesome. Well, there's a guy sitting right next to you. While he's sitting here, we might as well grab him.
we may as well.
Because this event is like his wedding day. It might be hard to get him later. But don't go anywhere because
Oh.
we're not done.
I'm
So, John, man, this is your event. Thank you so much for having us. First time we've ever done something like this. But, man, just tell us about you and Jerseys of Hope.
Yeah, well, first of all, I'm happy that we're the first ones because there's no benchmark there. Right,
It's
there's no
early in the
benchmark.
evening as well.
Correct.
So,
The sun is still out for
The
sure,
sun's-
and the people are packing in right now. We're sitting across the street, and we just see more and more cars coming into the parking lot, and to hopefully bid up and make this a wonderful event.
Yeah.
So.
well, and I know you've told this story before. You've been on before. But can you give just a quick story about what Jerseys of Hope is?
Yes. So Jersey Hope, we're a grassroots organization, nonprofit that we give new and used athletic jerseys to hospital patients to lift their spirits. We find that, and we've actually talked to nurses, that when they receive a jersey, just that helps in the healing process. So we're really honored and privileged to be able to give out jerseys and really help the patients. So that's really what inspired us. What really got the organization started was, unfortunately, my mother lost her battle with cancer, and it inspired me to start this nonprofit. And it's been 7 years, and we couldn't be more thrilled with how it's been growing every year.
So when this episode airs, it'll probably be about 5 episodes into our season 3, and y'all were nice enough to partner with us. And so people have heard the ad, I guess you'd call it, a little 30-second spot at the beginning of each episode so far. Can you run through some of those numbers that we were talking about earlier today? Because they're pretty amazing what you've been able to do.
Yeah. So we've been able to give out jerseys to 4 different countries, and that's amazing in itself. We've actually given out jerseys to 18 different states, and we've recently just partnered with 2 wonderful Ronald McDonald houses, one from Pittsburgh and one from Philadelphia, and we've been able to give them over 30 jerseys, and it's just growing. They keep hearing about it and requesting it. We reached out to Kansas City, Seattle, and Portland. They all got jerseys too during the summer. So,
and we're here at Put-in-Bay. Can you tell really quickly the story that they just told about something you've done right here at Put-in-Bay for someone? Was it the last week or so?
Yes, there's a 3-year-old Hazel Brown from Catawba Island, and she has a brain tumor that's not going to be operable. So she is in a tough spot. Her family and the community's really rallied around her. They're actually doing a Hazel Palooza today in town. A bunch of bands have donated their time and talent to fundraise for her. And we heard about this, and she does treatment in Michigan. So they reached out and said, hey, can you get us some Michigan University jerseys so that when we're at the hospital getting our treatments, we feel more part of that community? And we said, absolutely. So we were happy to deliver those yesterday.
And we can't tell everything just yet, but you and I were working on a little something earlier today, which we will be hopefully launching very, very soon. But for now, they can go to jerseysofhope.org. Is that right?
That is correct. jerseysofhope.org. As Aaron said, we're working on something special. We started the website 7 years ago, and just with any technology, what was wonderful 7 years ago looks a little out of date now.
Yeah,
I think that's fair to say.
Yeah.
So Aaron, we're definitely working with him and his team to upgrade that a bit. So we're really excited about it. We worked on it this morning with him and his team, and we're really excited about how it's going to look in the next couple months, probably.
But even though the old one was wonderful at the time, I mean, everything could always use an update, right?
Absolutely. I could use an update.
Not bold, bro.
Not Leslie, though.
I need an update for sure. And if you don't mind, I'll just throw in a couple other comments.
Yeah.
My career is actually in nonprofit. I'm a development director for another nonprofit. And speaking from that end of the world, it is unimaginable to state the effect that nonprofits have on other people.
Yeah.
I'm very lucky. I work for an organization that serves about 1,000 families for people with Down syndrome. Very proud of that. But the thing about John's mission and what they do at Jerseys of Hope, everyone has a hospital story.
Yeah.
Everyone has been in the hospital, visited a person in the hospital, understood what that isolation and that loneliness can be. And the fact that there's an organization out there that their whole purpose is to give you joy during that very dark time.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of places that can say they do that.
Mm-hmm.
And, John has also created, along with his wife, Monica, an incredible program for donating jerseys.
Mm-hmm.
All of us have jerseys in our closet that we either don't wear because we don't support that player or it's too small. We've aged in life. We've had an upgrade, whatever. And it's just wonderful to know there's a place out there for those jerseys. It's not being added to a landfill or added to a rack in a Goodwill store. It's going to go to a person of need, and it's going to put a smile on their face. And not a lot of places can say they can do that.
I like the convergence, too, of, I would say most people, like you said, have a hospital story. Unfortunately, at some point, we're all
right.
If not, if most everybody has one at the very beginning of their life.
Right.
I mean, right.
Right.
So
or somebody's life, right?
That's right. But to your point, there is that convergence of that. But also, most people are a fan of some team.
Correct.
Or got it as a gift or something,
Right.
or live in Columbus, so you got to have something in Ohio State, or whatever it may be, or Cleveland, wherever it may be. So those two things coming together to make somebody's life better. And that's something that, you can get flowers. Not there's anything wrong with any of these gifts.
Right.
flowers, a teddy bear, whatever it might be. But this is such a unique gift because it really is really cool.
Right. And to your point, it's all about a team.
Yeah.
We're all part of a team of something.
Yeah.
Whether it's, your nephew's little league team, maybe your nephew's 3-year-old old, maybe you're in your 40s, 50s, and 60s, and you've lived in Cleveland your whole life and have only seen one championship. Regardless, sports are a huge part of the American way of life.
Right.
And they all have jerseys.
Yeah.
And it really, John was telling a wonderful story to an interviewer today about a group of folks in Ghana that have received a collection of jerseys that they actually use for their team.
Mm.
So it's very, from the smallest detail to the largest, it just has an impact. And a lot of people out there today are looking for hope and, looking for nonprofits that actually do what they say.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of them.
Yeah.
Things like some of the bigger nonprofits don't have a great reputation, but when it's grassroots and grown by people who really care about the mission, that anything you do to support them is going to go to the cause.
As a testimony, I'm assuming since you don't live here, you drove all the way over here just to support them
Absolutely.
tonight?
Oh, we would have driven 10 hours. Wouldn't have mattered.
How about that?
Yep.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for being the first one to come on tonight. Is there anything else before you head back over to the festivities?
Support Jerseys of Hope. Your contribution will make a difference.
Love it. Thank you so much. Thanks for being on the very first guest. All right, we're back with another guest here at the Unscripted Podcast, right across the street from the event. Gene, how are you, my man?
I am doing very well. How about yourself? It's great to see you in person.
That's right. It's great to see you. So Gene and I went to high school together like 4 or 5 years ago, right?
Yeah.
A little
closer
more than that.
Yeah, maybe closer to 40, but yeah.
Well, my math was never that good.
Yeah.
So
If you wanted to say since 4th grade, that would have been good, but yeah. What's a few years between friends, right?
Right. Known each other a long time. We were just talking about it a year ago, I guess it was. You reached out to me via text.
Yeah.
And that was the first time we had talked in, honestly, about 30 years.
Yep.
And friends on social media, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so Gene reaches out and tells me all about Jerseys of Hope. So first of all, why don't you just tell us a little bit about you and then we'll get into Jerseys of Hope.
Oh, well, I am honored to be on the board of directors of Jerseys of Hope. I think it's an incredible nonprofit that touches a lot of lives, and happy to be a part of it. Being able to work with one of my best friends, John Beamer, and his lovely wife, Monica. It's been a tremendous honor to be asked, and looking forward to continue to grow in my role on this board. But yeah, it's really, really nice to understand that what you're doing is touching the lives of people in a positive way.
One of the things that I've always known about you, even if somebody would have walked up to me 10 years ago, before we even talked again, I would have told them you're a huge sports fan. And so this is right in your wheelhouse.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Having been the youngest of 4, I grew up in a house that, there was a lot of sports, and I played a lot of sports and participated and watched a lot. And so looking back, I always kind of felt like I was a little bit before my time, being somebody who was really into football and things, where now, the NFL is 24/7, 365 thing. And I kind of felt like I was that way when I was a kid, and, would get the Sears catalog in September and fold the pages back. I want that for Christmas and that for Christmas. And it was all from the NFL section. But yeah, I love sports, and part of what I love about it is it brings people from diverse backgrounds together for a common cause. And you can kind of move that statement right over to Jerseys of Hope.
Yeah. And John's sitting right next to you. So how did you meet John?
I met John through a mutual friend, John Zerbola, who worked with John down at Limited in Columbus, and, would go down there, visit John. John Beamer would have a get together, and we just became fast friends. And, here we are, 25 years later? That's crazy. That's just crazy.
So John, what is your earliest memory of Gene?
Oh, Gene. Oh, gosh, so many memories. I would say, though, I've never seen anyone more inspired or educated about jerseys. That was probably my first thing, is that this guy knows when a team wore their jersey. Case in point, my favorite player of all time is Earl Campbell. So big fan of his, and my wife got me a signed autograph by him. Gene came over one day and looked at it. He said, "Oh, that was from 1979. They played the Jets that game because they wore their white uniforms with the white pants, with the white helmet." Or
80.
Oh, sorry, 80. He just corrected me, everybody. But only he would know that is when they played. And you're talking 1980, and he still remembers it to the day. But that also goes to show his great memory, because we've had so many great memories together. And it's great being around him because he'll reminisce and he'll tell me about stuff that I forgot. And it's just kind of like, wow, we did that. That was fun. So Gene, a tremendous friend. He is a hard worker. Like, when he comes to these events, the guy never stops. What else can I do, Beamer? What else can I do? What else can I do? And you don't find friends who are willing to do that and ask no questions. He just does it, and we love him for it.
Well, I mean, he brought me into the fold. Not that I've been any kind of help like Gene has been, but he did bring me into the fold. And what I loved is when you called me, it wasn't some sales pitch. You weren't saying, "Hey, do me a favor. I need this favor from you." It wasn't anything like that. You knew that I'd have a passion for the same things.
Mhm.
One, being able to help someone in need, and a special, difficult circumstance. And two, sports,
Right.
And then the other thing I'll mention is Mark Price helped us out the last time you guys had one of these events.
He was a
with signing
tremendous
jersey.
help. Yeah, he was a tremendous help. And, I got to tell the story of, hey, I got to meet Mark Price, and people would ask, well, what was Mark Price like? And I said, he's exactly how you'd imagine Mark Price would be.
Yep.
Gracious, generous, just a tremendous human being. And, him being willing to help us out, pretty much sight unseen, speaks volumes to him as a human being. And, really appreciate you making that introduction. And, it was fantastic. It was fantastic. And both of his autographed jerseys brought in the most money at the last event. So, thank you so much, Mark. We really appreciate it.
Well, I think you said it so well, the honor of knowing Mark, and what you see is exactly what you would hope you would see. Because a lot of people probably have met a star and had their visions crushed.
The bubble gets burst.
With Mark
the
Price.
bubble gets burst. Yep.
Yeah. And Mark has a lot of opportunities. If and when he hears this, he's probably going to be laughing. I can tell you that there was no hesitation. And he'll laugh because I throw a lot of stuff his way.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, I think I might drive him crazy with all the stuff I send him, but this was a no-brainer for him. Right away, he wanted to be in full support of this. And so thank you to Mark. But the reason why I bring it up is you have had this unbelievable ability to, speaking of jerseys, get some incredible jerseys. And so how do you do that? Like, is it Ryan and you or John and all of you together? How do you guys get these jerseys?
Ryan and I kind of tag team on that. Ryan has a lot of contacts in the local Cleveland sports area. Curtis Stanberg from the Guardians, a big supporter of Jerseys of Hope. We reached out to J.W. Johnson, vice president of the Cleveland Browns, before our event in the spring in Cleveland, and we just tweeted out to him and showed him the autographed Mark Price jersey and showed him the autographed Guardians jersey that we had and said, "Hey, JW, why don't you jump on board here?" And the night before our event, I went to the Berea facility. They handed me a bag, and of course, kind of like a kid at Christmas, I'm like, I got to get back to the car so I can kind of take a sneak peek. And, absolutely generous. 3 autographed team issue jerseys, a Nick Chubb, a Deshaun Watson, and a Myles Garrett. So, they weren't giving us the kicker of the week or, the guys on the practice squad, they were giving us the top guys, and we know the top guys are going to bring the top money. So we really appreciate all of our contacts in Cleveland. And then, we've worked on some outside of that realm. We've gotten Mahoning Valley Scrappers will always donate something to us. And I have friends, friend of mine who I served with, Pete Genesini on the Syracuse board. He worked for ESPN for 25 years and provided us a Mike and Mike jersey.
Yeah.
And so, Yeah, when we get to talk about this with people, it's very organic because we're, as you said earlier, we're not making a sales pitch. We're just saying, hey, would you be willing to help us out? And then they always are.
Yeah.
Hey, Gene, you got to tell them about Charles from Pittsburgh and your adventure picking up 80 jerseys, was it? 180 jerseys.
Yeah. So in July, this gentleman, Charles, reached out to John and said, hey, I'm downsizing. I'm getting ready to start a family. I'd like to donate some jerseys. And so John, reached out and talked to him. And so it was 180 and he lived outside of Pittsburgh. So happenstance, the Guardians were playing in Pittsburgh on a Wednesday afternoon and we were planning on going to the game anyway. So we met him in Cranberry. Thank goodness we had a bigger vehicle than mine because he literally provided 4 giant boxes from U-Haul with 180 jerseys in them. And we've already distributed a good handful of those down to Ronald McDonald House of Cincinnati, Ronald McDonald House of Philadelphia. So Charles is making an impact with his donations and we appreciate him. And we'd appreciate any help from anybody who wants to make a donation in terms of jerseys, used, whatever we get, we always will use and get back into the community.
Yeah. And in case, Charles, you're listening, I want to say the Ronald McDonald House of Philadelphia got your jersey with Randall Cunningham, and they were ecstatic about it. It must have been one of their favorite jerseys of all time. I heard through the executive director that there was a buzz throughout the organization all day long about wanting to see the Randall Cunningham jersey. Yeah. So that was great.
That's amazing. And it actually segues very well for my next question for both of you. So I'll ask it and then I'll hand you to Mike, John. In my basement, I have a Indiana Pacers, Tyler Hansbrough jersey. Gene, you'll know why I love that Tyler Hansbrough jersey.
Yeah, I think it has to do with the Argyle and
the best color blue.
The Tar Heel blue.
That's right.
And
That's right. Yeah. So we bought that. We actually bought it for my son for Christmas because we went to the very first game, which Tyler did not play in because he was hurt. But that being said, it's still hanging in our basement. I don't know that I'd ever take it down, but I have no use for that jersey. And so here's what I want to ask you. You mentioned Randall Cunningham, and Randall Cunningham and Tyler Hansbrough are not necessarily, I mean, in Carolina they are. They're on the same level, but maybe not across the world. But there is somebody somewhere like myself that would love an Indiana Pacers Tyler Hansbrough jersey. So the question is, can people donate jerseys that, maybe the player doesn't play anymore, got traded? That happens a lot. In Cleveland, there's this one guy that keeps leaving and coming back. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
There's probably a lot of those jerseys around too.
Oh, well, yeah.
I know a couple people burned them. But
based on his popularity, yes. Yeah. But absolutely, this is about raising the spirits of people that are, in a tough situation. And I don't think we've ever gotten a specific request for a specific player. It's maybe a specific team, but not a specific player. So, yeah, if you've got that guy who wore 23 here in Cleveland and 6 in Miami and 6 in LA, we are more than happy to accept those, and we will repurpose them and give them good homes. Yeah, we do not discriminate against any team, any player, any past team. Get them to us, and we'll do good things with them.
Absolutely, and I wanted to kind of add on that. Is that we find when these patients are all together, they're all united in trying to fight similar diseases or similar issues, and they're really part of a team. And we find that they don't even care what the name is. We just got a request for some New England Patriots jerseys, and I said, well, do they want Brady? They really don't care. They just want to be part of their favorite team, and it lifts their spirits. So like we said, it's really about the team more so than the player. So all those old Bernie Kosar jerseys, we'll take them all.
Including the Dallas ones.
So that was one way you can help. Another way you can help is donate, obviously. And so that's, we're doing this today because I want people to hear the story. And, we're just at this awesome event right now. People, you got raffles going on. You've got gifts, silent auctions going on. There's a lot happening across the street right now. And it's really exciting to see the people that have come to support you and be a part of this. What is another way besides donate and donate a jersey? What's one other way people can help? Donate time?
Yeah, we certainly use more help at these events. We usually have a couple events a year at least. One up in Catawba, one in suburban Cleveland, Strongsville, Middleburg Heights. That tends to move depending on availability of dates. But yeah, we would love to have more volunteers help out these events. I'm sure John would love to have people volunteer to go into his inventory and organize and put things together so he has a better idea of what he's got on hand and what's available. So yeah, this is not a small team effort, it's a big team effort, and the more players we have on this team, the more of an impact we'll be able to make.
What if people, I have to assume this would be incredibly helpful. You mentioned a few people that have been beneficial in helping you get to a Mark Price, a Sandy Alomar jersey, a Deshaun Watson jersey across the street. So people have connections. And so if you're listening and you have specific connections, I have to assume that's another way they can help too.
Absolutely. Yeah. We will not leave any stone unturned. If you have, a connection with, the New York Jets or, the Seattle Mariners or anything, I think people at these events are very generous. And I think when they see something that, well, maybe it's not their favorite team, but if it's something that's unique and eye-catching, they're willing to somewhat put their money where their mouth is to help us out. And we really appreciate that.
It's funny you mentioned money. Well, first of all, there's a guy, Aaron Rodgers might need a jersey of hope right now.
He needs some Achilles, but yeah,
fits the profile.
It does fit the profile. Yes,
we may cheer for a team on Sunday and not playing. So get well soon, Aaron Rodgers. But that being said, you said money where your mouth is, and as you were talking, I was thinking about the fact that money's tough for everybody right now. Everybody knows that. There's a lot of great organizations out there, great opportunities. We know that. But what I love about this one is I have a feeling most people have a jersey somewhere that is, as Leslie said earlier, it probably doesn't fit anymore. Maybe it's too big. Maybe it's too small. Maybe it was your kids. Maybe your favorite player moved on to another team. Everybody's got a jersey somewhere that they could donate. And so it doesn't have to necessarily come from the pocketbook. Pocketbook's great, but you guys can then take that and do other things with it. And that's what I really, really love and want people to hear is there's so many ways you can help. You mentioned helping with going through the jerseys you do have. He's based in Columbus. You're in Cleveland. Where's the gear?
The gear is mostly in Columbus. There are certain items that I have at my location in Cleveland, but obviously if we were to, get into a situation where we'd have people help, we can figure out, whether or not we're going to need, some place to store some of these things. Ideally, we get them in and we move them out and get them to people and get them into the hands of the people who need them. Yeah. But most of the items are down in Columbus. But there are some items in Cleveland. But we'd be certainly willing. Anybody who'd be willing to help, we'd figure out a way for them to help out.
And I think that goes across anything. Contacts that you have. That's the beauty of what you guys do, and it is grassroots too. That was also mentioned earlier. It's grassroots, and so together we can all somehow help. And it's just a joy to be around. I mean, this event tonight is the energy is awesome. People are watching the Buckeyes game, during commercials, they're checking out the baskets and things. This is just awesome. And you couldn't have a better day. It's incredible.
It is a beautiful day, and it's going to be a great event when all is said and done. And, I can't thank you enough for coming up here and doing this impromptu podcast, and certainly appreciate your support and partnering with us. And, we can't thank you enough for your impact.
Man, we're just getting started. That's the beauty. We're just getting started. I see so many things that we can do together in the future. And Jerseys of Hope's been awesome for me just to be a part of and to be a part of tonight, man. This is just amazing. So appreciate you, brother. I'm glad you called me a year ago.
Hey, yeah, it's been great to reconnect with you. And as I said, we appreciate everything you've done for Jerseys of Hope, and look forward to continuing to work together and push this thing forward in the future.
All right. Let's get back over to the event.
All right. Thanks, Aaron.
Right.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Unscripted Podcast. Make sure to review and share wherever you listen to your podcast. It really helps out our mission to encourage everyone to live life unscripted. Until next time, keep living life unscripted.